right, good. Too quick for you. Good.
No, you are now doubled on my screen, like stereo vision. I kid you not. If I cross my eyes, I get 3D virtual Barrett.
Okay, well, look, we didn't launch space shuttles without some. Yeah. Good morning, everybody. It's Tuesday morning, the All About Nothing podcast, kind of daily show. I am Barrett Gruber, host of All About Nothing with Zach King. You can follow me across all social media at Barrett Gruber. This is Bill Kimler, host of Black, White, and Blue in the South. You can follow him across all of social media at politicalbillsc.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I was Bill Kimmel.
That was funny, right? That was funny, right? Because look, I said it once, and then I realized I said it, and then everybody else was saying it. Because who said it first? Was it? It was definitely Erica.
I think it was
Erica. So, politically speaking, released a new episode this week. I got to be a featured guest on this week's episode. This episode. I feel like I came in hot. Did you listen?
You
to
did.
it? You don't watch it, do you?
No. I listened. I did not know you had a live video feed of it.
I had, well, so their YouTube page, we released
Okay.
their episode of the YouTube page as well. But yeah, I was pulling a Bill Kimler when I did it, because I came in reading, because they had talked about the 1619 project while I was producing in the background, and so I came in reading the 1619 project, and I dramatically put my glasses down. Prop comedy.
I see.
How was your weekend?
God, I don't remember it. It's distant memory. I don't know. I couldn't tell you what happened this weekend. More earthquakes here in Greenwood.
Did you feel these?
You know, I feel like we're living in a rock tumbler at this point. We're up to like 13, 14 different earthquakes recorded in the last week.
Interesting.
And no, I can't say I felt a single one.
One of them was really not a single one. One of them was as high as like a 3-point something. That's significant.
You know, and they all seem to be happening in the middle of the night. And I don't know if there is a reason for that, you know, with the Earth and the gravity of the sun being on the other side of the planet, you know, if it causes, if there's any, you know, variable there, but they seem to be happening like 2 a.m, 3 a.m. And no, I'm not catching any of these.
So I do pay attention to there is a YouTube channel called the Skywatch Observers, and every single day they release, they do like a little newscast of all of the NASA information about solar events throughout the course of the day yesterday and the expectations for today. And one of the things that they continue to say is that solar flares, solar winds, they have an impact on the Earth, and that those and you have to imagine, coming out of the sun, something as large as some sort of a solar wind, that it potentially would have some sort of impact, that there would be some sort of result that happening. And so increased earthquakes is one of the things that they believe is caused by the sun, whether it's during, high sunspot activity where we're seeing more solar flares, that sort of thing. So it legit, it actually could be, be correlation. No, I don't know. We did have an unbelievably busy weekend. We had the 2025 Soda City Comic Con this weekend, and it was better than I expected.
Look at you and Zach interviewing all the celebrities. I saw some pictures. That's incredible.
Yeah, we the next week's episode drops on Monday. We will have all of the interviews that we had with all of the celebrities.
Sounds like it ought to be a multi-part episode. Are you going to condense it all into just one, hour plus block?
So the most time that we could really, the longest interview we had was with Matthew David Rudd, who is a voiceover artist, or he's a voice actor for several of the Crunchyroll series. He does video games like Final Fantasy VII. His interview was about almost 11 minutes long. Katie Sackhoff's that I sat down with was about 4 minutes, almost 5 minutes. Zach did an interview with Napoleon Dynamite, John Heater. His interview was roughly about 4 or 5 minutes. Very funny. John Heater and Zach did very well together, just riffing off of each other. They even gave each other a movie pitch about, and I won't give too much away, but Randy Quaid is in this movie pitch. Randy Quaid didn't show up for the movie pitch, but Randy Quaid is in the movie pitch. We
Right.
didn't get to the only celebrity featured guest there that we didn't get to sit down with and interview was Randy Quaid. And that is because we found out Friday night, Randy Quaid in his contract can only be interviewed by his wife. His wife is the only person that can ask him questions in an official media
Is
sort of
it
outlet.
religious reasons, do you think? Do you think there's some sort of
I think it's protective.
Christian nationalism happening there?
Yeah, I think it's protective. So knowing that Saturday, I spent a culmination of probably about an hour and 30 minutes just building a rapport with him so that I could potentially Sunday maybe just say, hey, just
Hold
walk
on, slow
around the
down.
corner with us.
Let's back up. You got an hour and a half time with Randy Quaid.
Yeah,
I mean, I know you didn't interview, but
split up over the course of the day.
what did you follow him around the Comic-Con? I mean,
No,
how did you get
he
that much time with him?
He sits at the table. Sometimes, if there are panels going on, a lot of the people that are in the celebrity room will shift their move around to the panel room where the guests are doing panels. They're doing
Okay, so
discussions.
you got some of that backstage access,
Little bit,
which gave
yeah.
you okay.
Yeah. So, but
Well, what was it like to getting? Also, I'll set aside your interviews because we'll hear that when you
Yeah.
release it. But the time you spent with Randy Quaid, what was that like? Because I just think of him as a batshit individual. Was he batshit in person, or you think
No.
that's just a public persona?
No, I don't know if that was, and honestly, I don't know if that is, if it's just a public persona or um, if it's just clips of, because we all have those. I mean,
I
there are
don't.
moments. Well, okay, so I do. You listen to Politically Speaking. I obviously have them, but we have those instances where what we say. I'm not saying that what he did was taken out of context because it was vandalism and then he ran off to Canada. Those are the facts. But he also has said very pro Trump, very pro MAGA, he has been very attached to that right wing thing. Aside from that, very very sweet man, very kind, very pleasant. I enjoyed talking to him. I enjoyed talking to his wife. He comes with an entourage of 4 or 5 people that are with him traveling and such. But he's significantly older, and some of them, I think to some of them, like Kingpin was what, late 90s. He looked young in Kingpin. Not anymore.
Was that the name of the movie?
Kingpin with Woody Harrelson.
Yeah, but I'm wondering, was that the name of the movie? I'm thinking it might have been something else, but you might be right.
Yeah, it was the bowling movie.
Right. The one guy with the one hand as a hook, out there bowling. I've seen that movie, but I'm just wondering, was the movie Kingpin, or maybe I'm mixing it up with that Jeff Bridges film?
No, it was Kingpin. Yeah, 1996. Whew, I'm glad I didn't get that wrong. But yeah, but that's what I'm saying. He looks significantly older. His hair is white, his beard is white. He just, but he still moves around. He walks on his own. He's, I don't know how old he actually is. I guess I could look that up. But
so if you had to mentally catalog all the celebrities you've interacted with, not necessarily interviewed, because obviously you didn't get to interview Randy Quaid, but you did talk to him, so you've interacted with them.
Yeah.
Of all the celebrities, what's your top 5 most famous celebrities that you can say you have rubbed elbows with
over the course
of your
history,
life,
or just over my life?
Yeah, not world history, but your history. I mean, you don't have a mental list like, hey, I rubbed elbows with Barack Obama. I know you didn't, but that example.
No, I didn't. Barack Obama, I didn't. When I worked at Kicks 101.5 in Atlanta, I did George W. Bush and Bill Clinton.
That's huge.
Yeah, did get time with did get to be in the room with them and have there, and if that radio station were in the same location with the same photos on the wall, there are pictures of Garth Brooks. We actually went to his house and in Oklahoma and had a dinner catered in the driveway between his house and his wife's house. That was a while ago though. That was back in 98. Super Summer Tour 1998. Because one of the things we did at our radio station were contests where people could we had a family that got to go to Garth Brooks's house to have him cook you dinner. But that anyway, that was a really cool one. 5.
Well, I mean, heck, that 4 alone beats any list that I thought you had.
Oh.
I mean, that's I mean, you're at Garth Brooks's house. That's it's like have a seat, Randy Quaid. These are some big names that you've hobnobbed with.
I didn't get to go into Garth Brooks's house. Also, at the time, it was.
I thought that maybe I've left a little gift for him in the bathroom. Hey, can I use your restroom there?
There was a portable bathroom, not an outhouse or a porta potty, but a portable bathroom. So it was a little nicer. That was outside.
Okay.
I'll just say, Keith Urban, the country singer.
Yeah, not personally, but I've heard of him. Yeah,
I spent about 4 or 5 hours at the Dave and Buster's with him and his band at the time, The Ranch, at the Dave and Buster's in Marietta, Georgia, using nothing but his Capitol Records credit card. That was a pretty good event. That was fun. And
wow,
wholesome. It was good. So anyway, yeah, but doing radio in Atlanta for a short period, the #1 morning show in the Atlanta market had its perks. Because I started out as an intern, then I became a co-producer. So it like I said, it had its perks to being able to, I guess, hobnob with some of the country stars: George Strait, Leanne Rimes, Faith Hill, Tim McGraw, Kenny Chesney. Okay, I'll stop. Anyway.
Now you made me regret my question.
That's right.
You went right past that edge, and now I regret it.
You thought you had pigeonholed me as somebody who
no,
hadn't.
It wasn't a pigeonhole. I mean, if there's anybody who's going to hobnob with celebrities, it's going to be you. And I was just curious, if Randy Quaid made it into your top 5, but I can clearly say that he has not. No. I mean, it's still nice to meet him, but he's not a top 5.
Well, and then this weekend, Katie Sackhoff and John Heder, those were the interviews I thought were well,
you're going to rate. Good. I mean, it's Randy Quaid, Katie, and John. I mean, in terms of celebrity status.
Yeah. Of all of the celebrities that we had the opportunity to sit down and talk to, the voice actors, the group of voice actors that they had, which are all they are all a cast of anime that is on the Crunchyroll app that you can get on Apple TV and Google TV. And they were all just the friendliest people. And I get it. They're voice actors. And they range.
Isn't every actor a voice actor? I mean,
in a way. Yeah.
I mean, you listen to Al Pacino, he's got to do different voices.
Charlie Chaplin had a period. He wasn't,
Well, you know what I mean? But it's like, they're voice actors. They're just non-face actors.
Right.
They're non-body actors. I mean, everybody's a voice actor.
Yeah.
But I guess except Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves is the same. He's the same voice, same character in every film he's ever been in.
Same with Christian Slater. Same with Denzel Washington. I mean, virtually with Denzel Washington, Denzel Washington just plays himself. I'm
trying to think if I could have a counter argument to Denzel. Like, I would think he's much more versatile, but then you watched him in Gladiator 2. It's Denzel Washington. It's like, what is he doing in ancient Rome?
Training Day was one of the character movies that he did that it deviated from the Denzel Washington role a little bit, but it's still Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still, he is playing himself, just more edgy.
So he could not be a voice actor since it's just one voice.
Potentially, but I think Denzel, but as long as that character was designed for, it was created for Denzel's voice. Yes, absolutely. Because sometimes people will watch certain things just to hear that person's voice. Kiefer Sutherland. If Kiefer Sutherland did any voiceover acting for like a cartoon, like a cartoon version of 24, I would watch that shit. Not just because it's 24, but because I could hear Kiefer Sutherland's like scratchy voice doing.
Right, it would be just him.
Yeah.
Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
He's done a million of those things, and it's always him. You know what you're getting.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
that's
know,
interesting.
yeah, but it was a good weekend. I look forward. That episode will release
I
on
remember
Monday.
when I first learned that The Simpsons, I was a big fan of The Simpsons, the day it came out. And a couple of years later, when I learned that it was like really just 5, 6 people doing all
Yeah.
those voices, I went, you
Yeah.
got to be kidding me. There's 100 characters, 100 unique voices. I was like, you telling me Krusty the Clown and Grandpa Simpson and Homer are all the same dude, and Willie, they're all the same guy? That's talent.
And you look at the cast of them, like Hank Azaria, who does Abu and Chief Wiggum and Mayor, whatever. Like he does all of those characters, but like he had an acting career even before The Simpsons. And and then after, during he still does The Simpsons, but like then he had movies and TV. Brockmire was absolutely one of my favorite programs, television shows, just because it was modern day baseball, like minor league baseball, but he used that voice that made you think of like 1930s baseball play by play. It was good. But yeah, you're absolutely right. The ensemble that they have for The Simpsons is small when you think of all of the characters that they have. It's just crazy. So, do you want to get into any of the recent news?
Oh, we were having such good vibes there for a
Yeah,
second.
I know.
What do you want to
Um,
kick off with? Let's go.
I want to talk about Trump wanting to sign an executive order to make flag burning a federal crime. Like we've already had a 1989 Supreme Court decision that said that was federally protected. I'm not saying I'm going to go out and burn a flag. In fact, even when my U.S. flags have become tattered or worn, I either take them to the VFW or to the American Legion and give them to them because they take them and they will burn them. They will do the ceremonial burn for them out of respect for the flag. I don't to me, I don't see the flag burning as being an outward,
Well, listen, this is
defiance.
what they wanted. This is what they voted for. And I look forward to this executive order lowering the price of groceries and making housing more affordable
Right.
and making education opportunities accessible to everybody and bringing peace to Ukraine. It's going to do a lot for us, and you're just not giving it a chance.
The release of the Epstein files,
Yeah.
and ultimately, so that wasn't the only thing. Uh, Trump also came out yesterday, said that cashless bail is going to end in Washington D.C. at least because anyone arrested in D.C., all of those arrests will be federal arrests. Any DC police arrests are supposed to be reprimanded to or moved to the DC federal National Guard, whatever. Um, which is I don't understand the play. Is it just you're trying to put as many people in prison as possible? Like is there a back end deal somewhere with one of the corporations that runs a federal prison somewhere near Maryland or Virginia near DC that
The play is you arrest 1/10 of 1% of the population, but you've instilled fear in 50% of the population.
sure.
So I think it's more about instilling the fear and controlling the population. I was reading an article which I thought was interesting is why are the residents of DC not rising up against this? Where they were the hub, or not one of the hub, but they were certainly a focal point during the 2020 George Floyd movement.
Sure.
And there were tens of thousands in DC walking through the streets. And now they are observing that the protests against the National Guard deployment, while they're there, it's in the hundreds, and it's kind of the typical free DC movement that has been always around, but it doesn't have the general population rising like you saw just 5 years ago with George Floyd. And,
Yeah.
and they're wondering why, where is it? Because DC has been known to be a vocal opponent of federal overreach, and it's not there. And is it exhaustion? Is it nervousness? Is it fear? Where is the uprising?
It's a great question. And ultimately I think the likelihood is that because Trump swept in as quickly as he did because he made the announcement on Monday, but he had federal officers on the ground and we knew it was coming, but he made the announcement Monday that this was last Monday or 2 Mondays ago. I can't even remember. It's such a whirlwind. But he made the announcement on a Monday, but the Sunday night before that, he already had FBI agents operating as DC police. The National Guard was already on the streets of Washington, D.C. So, and the announcement was made on Monday that he was federalizing the police in order to crack down on this unbelievably out of control crime syndicate, or whatever going on in Washington, D.C., which we still have. Tupelo, Mississippi has a higher rate of murder per capita than Washington, D.C., which, I understand that might confuse people when they hear it, but basically, for every 100,000 people in Washington, D.C., there's 2 murders or something like that. In some town in Mississippi, there's 19 murders per 100,000 people, which sounds sounds like an endemic. Like you hear.
Listen, I drove through Mississippi just a couple weekends ago, and I'm just glad to be able to say I'm still here.
Well,
it was funny when I did my trip to Arkansas. I went through Georgia, then hit Alabama, then Mississippi, then Arkansas. And Alabama, run by what's her name, Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
Sure.
No, that's not Alabama. I'm sorry, that's Arkansas.
She's Arkansas. No,
Alabama. Kay Ivey. Kay Ivey, I think
Kay
it's
Ivey.
Alabama.
9,700-year-old Kay Ivey.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it was nice roads, well kept, right?
Yeah.
And as soon as I crossed the border from Alabama into Mississippi, I felt like I was hitting dirt roads, gravel. I mean, you can see the line at the division of the states.
Yeah.
And I'm driving through Mississippi, and then there's just dirt clouds kicked up from the road, and you can hardly see the lines because the paint has been worn out, and you can feel the rumble under your car. And there's a saying we have in South Carolina. The saying is, "Thank God for Mississippi," because we would be at the bottom of the states if it weren't for Mississippi, and you can see why. It's a reputation well earned. I was surprised. I'd never driven through Mississippi before, but whew, that's dirt. That's a dirt poor state.
Well, Monday was busy for Trump as well, because he also announced that he wants to and will be changing the Department of Defense to the Department of War. So we're going from being on the protection and defense to the offensive with the naming convention. And
really the war against whom? Because where have all the federal troops been deployed so far?
Los Angeles.
Right.
Washington,
the American
DC.
cities. He is now declaring war on American civilians.
Yeah.
That's who he's put the most firepower towards.
I have this weird thought, which is that while the Second Amendment guarantees you the right to bear arms and defend yourself, whatever, there's also a piece of it that acknowledges the well-regulated militia, and militias are states, and it's pretty commonly known that the National Guard in each state is recognized as a state's militia. When you federalize, as the president has in California, their National Guard against the people of that state, that is in complete opposition of what the Second Amendment is. That militia is there to defend that state. I get that in a time of war, the president can call them up, but he has basically federally turned California's National Guard, their militia, against the people of California. And I'm just waiting to see the slurry of lawyers and ACLU and all of this in defending the Second Amendment now.
Yeah,
because you got to start using the tools you have to bring down this. The National Guard, the intent of the National Guard is not because it's supposed to be used against tyranny, whether it's tyranny of a government afar or a government near. And this government using the National Guard against the people is a tyranny near. So, Washington,
D.C., in addition to where federal government business occurs, is also one of the biggest tourist spots of the nation. And people were posting some videos of Washington, D.C. this past weekend, and all of the famous landmarks were nearly empty
Yeah.
of any tourists whatsoever. There was military presence at these memorials, military presence where there's not any crime anyway. And what there weren't were tourists.
It's all a
So
show.
this city is now starving economically.
Yeah.
The impact is going to be felt for many years, because when you build a budget, you're not building it with a huge surplus in mind. You're building to spend every last penny. So when you lose a weekend of tourism, when you lose a couple of weeks of tourism, that has a huge impact to the economic viability of the city and weakens it. So I'm wondering if that's not the ultimate goal, is a weakening of the city, and therefore he gets to permanently keep his people in there, because now they can't afford the police force that they need, because they were never given the funding to begin with, and now they've had a lot of their economy ripped away. It's going to be self-perpetuating.
I also want to acknowledge that Donald Trump doesn't do anything to benefit the country as a whole. Everything that Trump does, everything the Trump administration does, especially in these grand gestures of look at me, look at what we're doing, look at this over here, it's always and always a distraction. It's a distraction away from something.
And what do
And
you make of his health reports? I've
that's
been
what I
seeing a
was
lot of reports about his hand and makeup on the hand and the ankle swelling.
I
What are you seeing?
so I have a friend who is a who was an oncology. He was a doctor of oncology. He retired. He lives in our neighborhood, and he was walking his dog, and I happened to be outside getting the mail, and he said, "Hey, I saw a podcast." He said, "I really like that Bill Kimmel guy." Um, but no, we've had political discussions before, and I asked him. I said, you say same exact thing you asked. He said, I'm going to tell you right now, that dude is dying. He said, I fully believe that they are propping him up with, and he named a couple of medications that are all only done intravenously. But they are that he said, if he's not in kidney failure, then I'd be really surprised, because he has a lot of the symptoms that you see of someone whose kidneys are failing, the bruising. You don't, so like now this weekend, you're seeing bruising on both hands. So how does the White House defend that? Because before it was just because he shakes hands so vigorously that he's bruising himself, and that's what's causing the bruises on his right hand. Well, now they're on his left hand. Now we see them up his arms a little bit when he's out golfing. So this is clearly a man whose body is failing. And I have said this before. I absolutely do not think that he will make it through this term.
So
I think,
and I know we only have 2 minutes left in our show. Maybe we pick this up on Thursday,
yeah,
but I've spent time thinking, maybe as like a fiction writer might, what would happen if this president did pass within the year? What happens to the nation as a whole, right? You're going to have a lot of people rejoicing. I mean, maybe inappropriately so, but he's caused such division and hatred among a large number. I'm talking about millions of people, that there's going to be online celebration at the same time. He's got
as
such a
you have a
devoted
national
cultish
mourning,
following that he's going to have a lot of mourning as well. And I'm wondering if that doesn't spark a clash between the two camps.
it's entirely possible. Look, and I'll just say this to be clear. I do not wish ill on any president. President is is regardless of how much I'm disgusted by his behavior, the things he says, the way that he the way that he turns the world against the United States.
I think it might be okay to wish ill on somebody like that, though. Why wouldn't you wish ill on that? If
I
somebody is literally whitewashing any references to slavery from museums, somebody who's outwardly spoken against trans individuals as being non-human and not allowed to have any rights, who's caused so much misery and harm, why would it not be okay to wish ill on somebody like that? Who would you wish ill on if not that?
you're right, and I don't
Like, I
disagree.
think you're saying it, kind of out of a little political correctness. I'm
No,
terrible phrase, but I think you're saying it just to kind of, maybe that's the right thing to say as opposed to how you actually feel.
it's honestly it's how I feel. I don't wish ill on anyone. I don't want harm, or I guess that just
Interesting.
comes from my whatever. I'm
I didn't realize you
empathetic.
were a Quaker. Gotcha.
Empathy. It's
Yeah.
purely out of empathy, because when I see people feel pain or whatever, some reason I feel it's my alien, ancestry or whatever. It's a weird, it's like reverse Superman. The sun causes me to feel everyone else's pain.
Okay.
but but at the same time, I recognize that this country is going, when he does pass, this country is going to have two sides pitted against each other, because you are going to see people celebrating in the streets, because and 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 I would think that for a lot of people that should be some sort of a moment of self-reflection and be like, look at how happy, how much happy, but I don't know if I can be happy because JD Vance is the one that's next. JD Vance literally steps into the office, and what is JD Vance? Like, what do we know about JD Vance except that he
Well,
is
I know
just a
he does
puppet?
not command the same loyalty that a Trump does. Like,
No,
I think Trump is a unicorn. There is none other like him. JD Vance may succeed him and try to implement everything, but he is no Trump, and he just does not instill that type of loyalty. He can't.
no. Well, the good news is that based on research and some of the things that I've read from even like regular, like top news outlets and things like that, this is the end of JD Vance's career. He does not progress past this vice presidency. That
You don't
this is
think
it.
that he'll become president? Well, he has to. He becomes president when Trump
If he
dies.
steps in president, but I'm saying this 4 years, this is it. He
Listen,
doesn't have.
the guy is going to be forever in history books along the Hall of Presidents. Oh,
I
that's the end
don't
of his career.
I
Yeah,
don't
okay.
disagree.
What a terrible thing to his career. He ended as president. Oh, boo hoo.
I'm
What a
just saying.
terrible end to a promising career.
I'm just saying
He made president in his 40s.
the
How awful for him.
the impact
He'll never be emperor now.
the impact the impact of a JD Vance is short lived. That's all I'm saying is we benefit from that. So
Yeah.
well, on that, we'll wrap it up. Big thanks to everybody for tuning in. I am Barrett Gruber. You can follow me at Barrett Gruber across all of the social sphere. This is Bill Kimler, host of Black, White, and Blue in the South with Dr. Jamil Brooks. Also, I gave a little love to Dr. Jamil Brooks on the politically
A little.
speaking
You
last
gave it
week.
all. I got
Yeah,
none.
you did.
You got all the love went to
I
Jamil. I love Jamil is what you said.
I
Did I
waxed.
hear I love Bill? No. It's
I
like I
waxed.
heard I wish Jamil was on my kind of daily show. That's what you said.
No, that was I waxed poetic about how great you are.
Oh, I don't want to hear about your waxing habits, but it wasn't there was no benefit to me there. I heard it.
You can catch us live every Tuesday and Thursday right here, 5:30 a.m. Central Eastern. I wish it was 5:30 a.m. Central.
Where did
An hour
Central come
later.
from?
I have no idea. I don't know what I read.
Like, how is that even a faux pas? Like, where did you pull Central? Where are you?
I think I saw the word catch and was like,
Okay.
Central. I don't know. 5:30 a.m. Eastern right here on TikTok and YouTube and Twitch and all of this. So with all
You
that
realize
out,
we are locking out our West Coast brothers and sisters from hearing this show. I mean, it's
They listen.
2:30 in the morning there, and they're not listening to us.
They do. Well, they're not listening live, but I know they
Right.
listen because I get comments. I see the people.
Okay.
I get text messages from people. I gotta stop giving out my phone number is what I gotta stop doing. All right. Until next time, everybody, you all stay safe, be kind, keep your hands to yourself.